We're pleased to be able to present Jamie Lester, a little belatedly, from Genesys Aerospace. I got my, little bit of plug in there for
Aerosystems.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Oh, my apologies, but like Tom Harper said, we got to give you a little bit of a nudge there.
Give me some grief. It's fine.
It's okay. You've been part of this industry for a while. You're used to it. There isn't anybody.
20 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Won't go there anymore. What's the latest at Genesys? I saw, first of all, your helicopter programs, and there's a number of other things you're going on. You guys have been busy.
We've been,
Start out with the
busy.
biggest, bad asbestos.
So probably the coolest thing that we've done is we have partnered with Airbus, and we are getting an IFR certification on their H125, which is a single engine helicopter. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of unprecedented. So we did it for the TH-73 program with the US Navy with Leonardo helicopters. Mm-hmm. And that was the first single engine helicopter that was certified for IMC operations in probably 30 plus years. And so we piggyback onto that with Airbus and are now assisting them and partnering with them to get certification on their H125, which is awesome for countries who allow IMC operations in single engine helicopters. And we're hoping that kind of the rest of the world will follow, because it is a very economical way, especially in some of the special missions markets like EMS operations, for example. It's a lower cost solution for being able to do those operations.
Well, it's amazing you get to this point with that level of equipment. Having been a helo pilot for about 40 years now, and looking at what we started with and where we're at, and now where we're going with some of these technologies, it's just flipping amazing. Right,
and it's a true testament to the robustness of our EFIS displays, for example, that we're able to certify those systems into a single engine platform.
What brought this about? I mean, you mentioned military programs and so forth. Do you see the demand at this point to justify this kind of research and development?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you've seen more manufacturers kind of bring out these type of operations in single-engine helicopters. So I kind of see that growing, and like I just mentioned, I'm hopeful that some of the rest of the world who doesn't allow for that will kind of start to grow and realize that the importance of allowing those type of operations in a lower cost platform.
You're going to have to educate the regulatory environment on the capabilities as well as the operators, and
which we know is not always easy, but
that sounds like a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Ouch. So what's the implementation plan? What does this timeline look like, and where will we see this first?
So it's going to be the second half of 2024. It's going to be the certification. It's going to be offered through the factory only for right now, but some of its subsidiaries, like in South America, for example, will also be able to offer this platform. Okay.
Well, in some of the operations where you've got EMS in particular, where you got to go, and in some cases may not even be a matter of what's legal IFR, it's what will get you through it in case you're in a position where you couldn't avoid it.
I mean, number one accidents.
That's got to be God's work.
Right. Number one's accidents in helicopters, inadvertent IMC or loss of control, and being able to have IFR capability and having pilots who understand that looking at their instruments and trusting their instruments is going to save lives. So,
what are the elements of your installation at this point, and how did you attack each?
I'm not sure of the question.
Well, you're talking, first of all, with flight guidance, you're talking about autopilots.
Yes.
And then, of course, the implementation and coordination with control systems. That's a big job.
It is a big job. So it is a full avionics suite, so it does have our EFIS displays, it's got dual EFIS displays, it's got our radios installed, it has our sensors installed, and then, of course, you mentioned the autopilot, and it has our 3-axis autopilot as well.
Now, in this particular case, is the autopilot a scenario where it's going to provide flight assistance and stability augmentation?
It does provide stability augmentation, and it has also the upper mode, so it will allow for indicated airspeed holds, vertical speed holds, altitude hold, heading hold, navigation hold. What's really cool with our EFIS is when it's paired together, you get en route VNAV as well. And
Okay.
we talk about special missions, so we have star patterns, and it'll actually fly the star patterns. So a pilot can actually pay attention to what their mission is and look outside for firefighting or rescue or any of that.
Oh, I got to fly this.
I know, right?
gotta
The
fly this.
autopilot's flying it for you.
Well, that's cheating, but it still sounds like
It
a lot of
is.
fun.
I mean, one of the biggest objections I hear is people get their helicopter licenses to fly the helicopter, right? But my comment is, you never know when you're going to need something to save your life. And
Well, when you're working, workload issues,
Right.
people don't understand that
Right.
an autopilot is an aid, not necessarily an excuse, but more important than anything else, you have a workload that at times can just get obscene.
Yes.
And you
Yep.
need to let George do it.
Right,
And-
right. And helicopters are inherently unstable. I mean, that's why we have SAS systems.
As are most of our operators, but yeah.
Yes.
Been in that industry a little too long.
Right.
So where do you go from Airbus? Are you going to continue with some of the other aircraft in that line, or are you looking to branch out?
We would love to. New programs pop up, and we like to bid on those. We're certainly growing our portfolio of OEMs and programs. And most notably, we recently have announced a whole digital radio suite. And so we're pursuing that market as well. It's a very slim line radio that combines nav, marker beacon, and VHF.
What market
have
are
a
you targeting there?
UHF. Again, special missions. That's
Yeah.
really our niche, right?
Yeah.
But some of the older avionics, like the Honeywell 909 UHF radio. This is not a plug and play, but it's certainly an easy retrofit, and at a price point that's approximately what it's going to cost you to repair one of those radios. So it makes
okay.
sense to install,
Move on
get
up.
a brand new warranty, and again, very slim line LRU.
Yeah. New technology, digital this,
Yes,
digital that,
yes.
meantime between failures that go way up.
Yes, exactly.
Yay.
Exactly.
Holy smoke, you guys have been on the march.
We
What
have.
else is new out there? Obviously, the autopilot business itself has been a backbone issue. Where are you going with that? Anything new in the works?
So we are working on a fourth axis for our helicopter autopilot. So
Okay.
that's going to add in hover, hold, and deceleration to a
be
hover.
still my heart.
I know, and collective control. So yeah, moving on up in the capabilities of the IFR system to add that fourth axis, and that's kind of super exciting. We're doing that with our partners Metro Aviation on the EC-145E, and then also XB Services on the U-860 Blackhawks.
Well, I'll tell you what, sounds like a really full plate. I'm fascinated by what you're going to try to do with fourth axis, because this was science fiction a couple of years ago.
It was. And look, we know where aviation is going, right? We've talked about UAVs, optionally piloted aircraft, the technology.
Autonomy.
Yes, exactly. And so we don't want to be the pioneers, but we don't want to be behind the curve either. We want to make sure that we kind of have the technology so that we can be there when the regulations actually start hitting, because that's the big thing, right? We got to wait for the regulations to tell us what is actually going to be required for automated flight.
What's been your experience on the regulatory environment over the last couple of years? Are you seeing slowdowns? Are you seeing gaps? What's happening at this point?
I don't want to get
And
myself in trouble here.
Don't-
But yeah, we've seen slowdowns. I mean, I think especially with the health crisis that we had a couple of years ago and people working from home, everything kind of slowed down there, and it's just not gotten back to where it used to be.
Getting back up to speed is a terrible process.
Yes, unfortunately, on the regulatory side, we're seeing a massive slowdown, and it hurts everybody in the industry. It's not just us.
Especially
It
when
is
you're trying to-
every one of these exhibitors that you see here today.
Especially when you're trying to build products that ultimately bring more safety into the industry
Exactly.
as well as utility.
Exactly.
That is unfortunate. One of the things I've asked everybody in here pretty much is talking about the hiring process right now. Are we finding a reasonable supply of qualified people either to hire or to train and hire? And of course, with programs that AEA is pushing right, left, and forward.
Right.
What's been your experience so far? What's the training environment or hiring environment like?
The whole industry is suffering from bringing in young, interested talent. That's a known fact. And I'm going to take my Genesys hat off and put my AEA hat on because I'm a member of the board. And thank you. And that's what we're fighting, right? We've come out with committees who are specifically geared toward bringing in workforce into this industry, and not just avionics, but aviation as a whole. There's a lot of programs that focus on bringing in pilots, but there's so many other aviation jobs that are available. I mean, sales and marketing, for example, on my side, there's engineering, there's avionics techs, there's, pilots, maintenance, A&Ps, and we need to do a better job as an industry to get young people excited about what we do, because it's pretty awesome. I mean, AEA is one of my favorite show because I get to see people that I've known for 20-something years. And it's a big family reunion and
a crazy community.
Even though we might be
which
competitors,
will always give you a hard
gets
time.
along. Yes, well, some people more than others.
Great job, come on.
I know.
Besides, Tom Harper made me do it.
I know.
We've got an interview coming up at the end of the program with Patrick McManus of Next Stop, where he's looking at pushing programs to train and bring veterans into the industry. Do you have any emphasis in that area, or are you looking in particular for folks who've served in the military or have military experience?
Anybody who has military experience is going to be a benefit to any company, so I would say yes. But at this point, we struggle with getting anybody in who's qualified, so absolutely.
The veterans and so forth, it seemed to be a pretty good selection, especially since you're not having to deal with the millennial attitude and so forth right now. So much fun hiring in that guard. Okay, what are you going to give me? Wait a second, we haven't talked about the job yet, but I want to know what I'm going to get.
And the trend of now loud quitting is what they're calling it?
Oh, dear God. No.
Right. Dumbest thing ever. But
again, with your AEA hat, how do you see the health of the industry? How are we doing?
You know what? This has been the best AEA that we've had since pre-COVID. So It was like 2018, 2019. Exhibitors are up, attendees are up, training is up.
Everybody's happy?
Everybody's happy. So I see it trending in the right direction. If you look at the AEA reports with regards to revenue, that's trending up since the health issue that we went through a couple of years ago where things plummeted a bit. It's rising back up, and we're almost to the same level that we were around 2018, 2019. So I think it's really good news. Gamma's reporting good numbers. So overall, I say we're bouncing back and it's healthier.
And I'm hoping 24-25 gets us past we had to take all of our R&D into resourcing various parts we couldn't get anymore, suppliers that went out of business, and now we can get into R&D that actually moves
technology forward.
Gets us a few dots past the dial there. I hear of a lot of people that have been chomping at the bit and they're ready to go, and 24-25 on an innovative standpoint should be fascinating.
Yes.
So we shall see.
Yeah, we're excited, and we were purchased by Moog. I think in the end
I remember that press release.
Yes.
Holy smokes, here goes another one.
Exactly. But it's been really, really good for us. Good. I mean, their whole growth and innovation section has allowed us to, I like to equate it to when you train for a marathon sometimes, or a sprint maybe, and you have a parachute on your back, and so you've got that resistance, and then finally you cut it off and you're able to go faster, and that's what Moog's done for us. They've been able to give us that influx of additional R&D to be able to do things like advanced technology.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Well, we sure appreciate your time here with Airborne and Aero-TV. We've got Brick Wanek on deck with U Avionics coming up here in a moment. Please keep me up to date on what you're doing with your helicopter program. The Airbus 120 series has been a pivotal machine. I'm looking forward to see where it goes from there.
Excellent.
As it climbs its way up the Century series there and see what they do with it. But fascinated by what you're doing with that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you so much, Jim. Thank you for having me on.
But more important, call me when you got one to fly. I got to see this for myself.
I will.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 66th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Orlando, Florida, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors: